Good evening, everybody. My name is Edwidge Miranda Mondesir. Today is January 15, 2026. Things are getting weird. So, I did show you guys the previous video that I uploaded of me calling the state hospital, part 2. Need to upload the rest of those, which is part 3, part 4, and most likely part 5, but from my best of my knowledge, just part 4. So, I need to upload 2 more. Fast forward today of what I'm trying to say, why things are getting weird. Recently, my father receives his letter from the Ninth Circuit Court. He wrote a letter. I believe he sent it out January 6th, and he received a copy January 8th. Excuse me. He stated the update of what's going on, and he also mentioned how all this started with the student who brought a gun to school threatening to kill me, and then that there is witnesses threatening to kill me and my brother. He sent death threats. And when they sent the copy back about the letter, because my father stated within his letter that he shipped on January 6th that he didn't receive no COA, which is a certificate of appealability. So when you have a habeas corpus, you must fill out a brief request for a COA, which is a reasoning why you're appealing your habeas corpus. So I submitted that long ago, which was January 31st. No, January 25th of 2025. I submitted that into the Central District Court. And it was the address was underneath the Todd Road Jail facility. And my father never received that COA until when we called recently around December, when I called to notify the Ninth Circuit that his mail has been blocked. They have been obstructing him from obtaining his legal mail. So that's the whole reason why my father sent a letter to the Ninth Circuit. He explains what happened, that he didn't receive that document from July 31st of 2025. And when I called that Ninth Circuit on December, I explained that he never received it. Is there a way that they could send it again? So the man from the Ninth Circuit told me that my father must file a letter. It cannot be me. They want to hear from him individually. So he sent that letter. And he received a copy of the COA, finally, the one that was hiding from him ever since July 31st all the way to the December. And he recently now gets that COA copy from January 8th, along with the copy of his letter that he shipped out to them. And when he told them about the event of November 22nd, the whole ambush, how it happened, when they sent him a copy back, they highlighted the word that he stated about November 22nd. That gives us a hint that somebody's going to most likely investigate, or soon things are going to start happening with the Ninth Circuit. So recently, on January 8th, the same day that he received that letter, he received it at night around 9 p.m. Earlier, during that day of January 8th, my mother spoke with a supposed psychiatrist team at the state hospital, and they are convincing her, because she's been making reports. And mind you guys, whenever you make a report within a state hospital, right, your complaint goes straight to the Ninth Circuit. What I truly believe, first it goes to the California appeal, which is state appeal, right? Then when the California appeal sees that constitutional violations are being violated, they send that up to the Ninth Circuit. Then they investigate that. So that whole team basically came to tell my mom about what the charges are about her and all that, and also stated that she needs to tell forensics, which is basically the Ninth Circuit, somebody that is sent from the higher court, like a psychiatrist or psychologist, to come on down and investigate what's going on truly about this complaint. So my mom explained herself of what's going on and how they're forcing medication. So these people on January 8th stated, these people on January 8th stated that my mom needs to tell forensics, which is the people from the high court, that she is not being forced to take medication. She's not forced to be taking medication to tell them something else different. That's a form of coercion, as I previously mentioned. Coercion. It's a form of terrorism. They're scaring her into telling them something else so they don't get properly investigated. So that's a quick update for you guys to know. Fast forward today, as I mentioned that I'll be sending out documents or appealing something. Sorry about that, the light cut off. So today I went to the federal court and I submitted 3 notice of removals. One for Joel Steinfeld, which is a conflicts defense attorney that is appointed to my father's case in the state court, and Jeff Chambliss, who are working together, both CDAs, doing their stuff, suppressing evidence, obstructing, and performing malpractice, which is also misconduct. They failed to consult with their client about their case and submit evidence that will throw out all charges because nothing has been presented for over a year now. So I appealed those 2, including the school lawsuit that they've been trying so hard to dismiss and throw out of the federal court. So the statute of limitation, I hope everybody pay attention to this. The statute of limitation is a serious thing. Statute of limitation, you have about a year or 2 years to have your matter be heard. And within those 2 years, and it's not heard, it completely gets thrown out. So I appealed that. I have the brief ready. So I was up all night working on the brief for the appeal court, the brief for the school, the brief for Joel, and the brief for Steinfeld. And the brief is basically your reason stating why you want to appeal it and why this matter should be heard, right? So as that happened, I submit those today, and the brief explains perfectly well. I'll talk about it later again in a new video. The point is, the main problem is the notice of appeal. I was up all night, didn't get much sleep. I'm surviving off coffee. 4 a.m. I was up drinking coffee, working on the paperwork. So everything's prepared and ready. Now, since I submitted those appeals, I'm waiting for the Ninth Circuit to give me a case number. So I'm assigned to the Ninth Circuit, and then I wait for their response about appeal brief schedule. And the appeal opening brief schedule is basically the reason why you're bringing this matter to the Ninth Circuit and why you think the judgment in the district court, which is the central district or any lower court that had dismissed your matter and you're appealing it, you must explain a reason why it should be brought back. So I did that. I had that ready. The reason why I'm saying things are getting weird, I was at the federal court today and a clerk said, this is what he did. I submitted my filings. He asked me about my mother, what's going on. I explained to him what's going on, how she's in the institution and they're forcing medication onto her. And she has health issues to not be taking that medication that is prescribed to her, which could cause cardiac events, which could lead to fatal death. I explained that. Then the man tells me, the clerk, I'm not going to give out their names for legal purposes only, but I'm explaining to you that things are weird. After that, he tells me if I'm staying anywhere, do I have a place to stay? And I say yes, my dad's friend's home. You know, I'm staying at his place for the meanwhile till things are situated. Then he asked me how are my siblings doing. I told him they're doing all right. He asked if we have food, do we eat? I stated yeah. I even showed them my mom's EBT card that we get some type of food stamp every month to buy groceries, so we eat at home. Then he goes ahead and tells me about school, like what have I been doing for myself, because I've been filing paperwork in and out of the federal court. I tell him, you know, I haven't got the chance to. I want to get my license and at least go to school. Then he started telling me if I went to school, like, did I go to high school? And I stated, yeah, I went to 11th grade only. I only did 11th grade. So after he filed my stuff, he had his hand out during the little slot where you pass your filings to the clerk. He had his hand out like that. And I thought, was this a normal gesture for a handshake? So I go for a handshake. And he holds my hand firm. And he says that he's going to talk to me as if he talks to his sons, right? Like, kind of like, I guess he was giving me a lecture or supposedly advice. And he stated something along the lines about how that the time, I guess he's holding a grudge about August 4th, which is when I filed Jeff Chambliss' suit, and it wasn't put onto the record for a while until August 21st of 2025. And before August 21st, when they put it on the record, me and my mother had went to the federal office because we've been calling the past few weeks from August 4th all the way to August 7th, August 8th, until our phone calls were being ignored and denied. I have a video footage of that whole situation. And you guys know my mom. My mom will speak her mind, how she feels when she's being when she's being treated some type of way, like mistreatment. She would explain herself and speak her voice out, right? So August 14, we go to the federal court for the same matter again because they gave me the same statement stating that we're waiting for the judge to give an assignment for a notice of related cases. But in the beginning, when I filed it, I never stated anything about the case being related, right? Because the reason why, if you're going to file a notice of related cases, the events must be tied exactly the same, right? And on top of that, the people have to be different. I mean, if the people are the same from the first lawsuit that you submitted, therefore it's related, right, in a way. But mind you guys, Jeff Chambliss is appointed to my father's case, so it's somewhat of a separate matter compared to the school. The whole case is tied as one because they separated in state court to cause confusion. But Jeff Chambliss alone is individually being sued for malpractice and misrepresentation and suppressing filings and suppressing evidence. So the events are different. They do not link. As much as I want to link them to the school, they don't link that way because they're different events for the court procedurals. And on top of that, you have new people. We don't talk about the old people in the state. I mean, we don't talk about the old people in the school lawsuit. We talk about Jeff Chambliss alone individually because why? We're suing him individually for his actions, for his stuff that he's doing. So he must hold accountability for those wrongful actions. So they filed a notice of related cases when they know damn right that it's not related. And after that, I had to wait for a week or supposedly. It usually takes 3 to 4 days, right? When you put a notice of related cases, it takes 3 to 4 days. I've done it before. And what happened next is that we were just being told that you must come back the next day or next day after because the judge has not decided anything. The judge hasn't decided if this case is related or not. So we come back the next day, the same old thing, until it got to a point. We just started calling, and then our calls were being ignored, which I'll be uploading soon. Most likely titled the video, Clerk Misrepresentation, or something like that. That would be the video when I upload it, so you guys understand what I'm saying. And August 14, we end up going to the federal court and talking with this clerk. And my mother put him on blast. She spoke her mind, how she felt. How it doesn't make any sense how we're going back and forth, wasting time, wasting money for something that's not filed. Nothing is on the record about what we just filed on August 4th. Like there was no record, like if it was hidden. August 14 comes. We go in there, we talk to the supervisor, and my mom is telling them off, and I'm the only one that is trying to understand the whole situation, what's going on. So after that, I see that there may be a misunderstanding. With these type of people, you cannot argue in the federal court. It won't get us nowhere. So I understood to listen, right? I understood to pay attention to these type of people. And he felt some type of way, this clerk, because I guess he was told off by his supervisor about his issue. After August 14, fast forward to August 21st, August 22nd, Jeff Chambliss' suit is up on the record with the new case number and everything. Mind you, the day I filed it on August 4th, I wasn't provided any case number, and neither was it stamped. So therefore, it was like a ghost filing. The filing didn't exist because there was no receipt, and I didn't have anything recorded that day. So that's why they were giving us some type of loophole, right? As that happened, it's on the record. Ever since then, I guess he felt some type of way. This clerk, him and my mom probably didn't get along. But, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to file my serious matters so I am heard. And then, as that happened, it's just been weird ever since then. Sometimes things were lately filed. Most recent, I filed around September, I believe. Mid-September or November. Most likely November, I believe. I submitted the lawsuit against Ashley Susan and Tracy Millsap. And it was put under the docket. Like it was never on the record. To this day, it's not on the record. I do not need to worry about that because the statute of limitation has not expired. I have time to refile that and appeal it. So there's some games going on in there. They don't want to file what we are documenting. Whoever that's in there, I don't know who it may be. So my point is that same clerk from that day, I see him today after he files my 3 appeal forms, and he told me if I'm staying with family, if I have food, reaches his hand out, I hold his hand as in a handshake. He firmly holds my hand, and he discuss about that matter again. He brings it up again after 5, 6, 7 months ago, right? He brings it up again, stating that he could have hated me, but he didn't hate me because he supposedly believes that I told on him to his supervisor about his type of conduct that he was doing. I guess he felt some type of way, and he said the reason why he helped me, like with filing and made sure everything's on docket, is because he loves my mom and he loves me, and that he knows that what I'm dealing with, like having my mom going to jail, my dad going to jail, is a lot for a young individual to see. And I see where he's getting at. So I explained, yeah, it's psychological torture. And he immediately states, yeah, I know. And he stated that he is not stupid, I believe, in a way that he's trying to give me a lecture. He said that he's talking to me as if I'm one of his sons. And he went along the lines stating I should go to school so one day, I could become who I can become, because he supposedly sees some type of potential. And he stated that I could be somebody, I could be working at that federal courthouse. The thing about this, it sounds like he contradicted himself, but I don't know. The last thing I remember him telling me is that I could be a lawyer. He didn't say nothing along the line of today about that. He just stated that I could work here. But the last time I told him about this job, it seems kind of chill, right? Him being a clerk. He said he didn't like being a clerk. It's just where he's at in life, I guess. It's where he's positioned to be. So, you know, that's one contradiction there, and I held on to that. And then on top of that, he stated that maybe one day, when I have everything, when I have my own home, that I cannot be depending or relying on my dad's friend who is taking care of me. And he came up with a conclusion stating that that my dad and his friend had a talk that I probably didn't hear about, and my dad's telling him, oh, he's basically intimidating my father, stating what my father would have had said, that, you know, I need you to take care of my kids, and so on and forth. And I'm following, I'm understanding what he's trying to say. Then he go ahead and tells me that I cannot be reliant on that one day I'm gonna have to, like, I guess, grow up, which I am grown. I know what to do. I know how to provide for myself. I know how to wash myself. I know how to wash my clothes. I know how to cook. So I feel like that was irrelevant because I do not depend on people. I do everything on my own, and a little bit of help from my parents when it comes to filing. So he told me that, and he said when one day when I have my own home, that when I have everything and I have a job, like maybe I'm working at the federal court, or I have a good job because of school, that I could probably he could pro- that I could probably invite him to my home, he stated. And he went on along the lines stating that one day maybe you'll call me and state, uh um thank you, thank you, thank you for helping me. He's intimidating what I might have said to him. Thank you for helping me, and I've gotten so far where I'm at, as if I would talk to him like if he's my father. Mind you, when it comes to lectures like that, when somebody thinks they're talking to me as their son, I'm not your son. I'm a stranger to you. I know my father. I know my parents. I followed their advice. That's why I'm where I'm at right now. I have this type of intellectualness to stop these people from doing this evil, wicked shit that they're doing to us. So I don't let people get into my head. That's just little a little notice for whoever's watching there. And when he was talking about school, you know, I told him that I only did 11th grade, and I asked him, you know, if you had advice, what should I do in this situation when it comes to school? Should I go to a continuation school, or what should I do? Then he paused for a moment like this. Then he asked for my number to put it down. He asked, do I have a phone number? And I said, yeah, I have a phone number. He asked for me to put my phone number and my name down below, and stated that he would not give me legal advice, that he would give me advice. All right. Then he goes ahead and tells me about breakfast. If I like breakfast, right? The same man that supposedly stated that he hated me, but he didn't hate me, that he supposedly loves my mom and loves me, right? And he said that he could have gave me a stink face like that one time because of that incident on August 14 when he was confronted about what was going on. He has some type of animosity, secret animosity, I'm not sure. But he was talking in like metaphors in a way, telling me to keep praying, and that the devil would try to stop me, and went along the line of stating that the devil would also try to kill me. I'm not gonna jump to a conclusion on what that was said, on why he said that, but I felt some type of way because he said that he sees me going back and forth into this federal court, filing documentation back and forth. And he's telling me to pray that the devil will try to stop me and probably try to kill me. It depends on people or something like that. He said people will try to do that. And he's staring dead in my eyes, telling me this, holding my hand, shaking it, holding it firm, right? Telling me this. Then after, when I let go, when he let go of my hand, He told me about my number, and that's when I wrote it down in my name. That's when he jumps to the conclusion about breakfast, if I like breakfast. And he asked if it's okay. He's saying, I hope it's okay with your mom that if I could pick you up, if I could pick you up one day and take you for breakfast and give you advice. And I'm saying, sure, I guess. Going with the flow. Then he stated, where do I live? Who am I staying with? That was the most weirdest thing today. The fact that he brought up how he said the reason why my parents and stuff and like that are there is probably because God put me here to teach me a lesson. That's what he said, to teach me a lesson along the line on that I don't want to be in their situation or where they're at. And that's when he brought up how the devil will try to stop you and try to kill you. After he said that, he asked for my location, where am I staying? And that's when he told me about the breakfast and the whole ordeal about breakfast, telling me if he could pick me up at my location to have breakfast so he could give me advice. Mind you guys, he just got caught up again within his contradiction. Didn't you say you wanted to give me advice to put down my number? I gave you my number. Why can't you give me advice over the phone? Why do we have to go to breakfast for you to give me advice? See where I'm coming from, everybody? Why does that have to happen? I stated, I don't trust anybody at this moment in time for stuff like that, but no thank you. And then he paused and he stated, what if you give me a location to go, I pick you up, and we get breakfast? And I was like, sure, going along with the flow, basically saying what he wants to hear. To me, I feel very suspicious about that encounter. Never talk that way. This person's very rude when it comes to women as well. One time when I was at the federal court filing, it was for Stephen Roof. I remember the date. It was October 9th of 2025. He rudely dismissed a woman. She's within the federal court. When you get into federal court before 4 o'clock, you have 1 hour, or at least a good 30 minutes to get all your filing finished. And the woman was already here, and he stated to her that it's closed, that she will have to come back tomorrow. And as you could see, the woman seems to be suffering with all the filing and hard work that she's doing. I'm proud of her. Hopefully she comes across this one day and she sees that I'm talking in good faith on her behalf. He talked to her so rude in a way that he said, what are you going to do? Cry? In front of everybody? When she's having a nervous breakdown in a way, holding her composure, holding her words, but you could hear it in her tone of voice when somebody is hurt from the inside, You could hear it emotionally. And it looked like she was about to tear up and cry. And he said, whatever you're doing, you're going to cry. That's not going to change the fact that it's closed, supposedly, when she was already there, sitting down, waiting for her turn. So then he uses some type of, I don't know, power trip, guilt trip for her to come back. If she's not back within 5 to 10 minutes, that he would simply close it and she would have to come back the next day. So when I went through my turn and I did my filing and I'm leaving, I told that woman, keep your head up and stay strong. Keep doing what you're doing, stay strong. She said, God bless you. And I said, God bless you too. And she stated that she would pray for me. These type of people shouldn't be treated this way, especially women. The way that he talks to women, I don't like it. That's my personal opinion. I'm not giving a reaction on how I feel about my emotions. It's just, I don't like that. I don't like that because I seen him talk to my mother that way, and I'm there present. I understand my mom will express herself. But you gotta understand this logically. This is normal biology. It's about humans, is how we feel emotionally. Women are morally tied to emotion than men are tied to emotion. Men could get over a situation or a little argument that happened, but with women, it sticks and lingers within their mind sometimes, and it keeps repeating, right? So that's my point. I didn't like the way he talked to her, and the fact that he told me to meet up with him to have breakfast, like if I'm poor, like if I'm desperate to eat food with him. I am not desperate to eat food with anybody that talks to my mom in a very disrespectful manner when she's trying to explain her situation of what's going on. He stated that he understands where she's coming from. Then why entertain why entertain that to have her talk crap? You know what I mean? Why entertain that? If you know what she's going through and where she's coming from, why entertain it? So you could get a reaction? That's what I don't understand. If you understand and you're older than me, you're older than my mother by a good 22 years, possibly 20 years older, shouldn't you have more wisdom and knowledge on how to treat human beings? So that's one of the conclusions that were in my mind when he stated that he understands where we're coming from. And that was it. He stamped my stuff. Not like August 4th. That time, he didn't stamp nothing on August 4th. But today, when I filed what I had to file, which are the appeals, he stamped them, gave his little signature, and he gave me that little lecture stating one day when I have things good, I would call him like if he's my father, telling him how good. Mind you, I understand that he's a clerk. He may have gave me a few little notices of what to do, but that doesn't mean that he helped me along the whole way. He still made me struggle. He had my mom struggle. Therefore, I'm grateful, but no thank you. I do not need a lecture from somebody that is not my father, especially if I don't know them. I want you guys to understand this. Everything is falling into place with the Ninth Circuit. Everything's being documented. A lot of people are going to get in trouble. Lots of people are going to get in trouble and most likely lose their jobs and possibly be convicted for this serious crime that was done to me and my family. So that man told me he wants to take me to breakfast. Wants to take me to breakfast. Mind you, this guy never talked to me this way. Never with my mom, never in front of us. No. Why does he want to have breakfast with me? Why does he want to know where I stay? To tell you enough that I'm staying with a family friend, therefore it gives you enough information that I'm doing well. I'm holding up. Exactly. Somebody said in the comments, Angela Turtle, young boy, to manipulate you was weird. Shit going on. Stay away, bruh. I will. I will stay away. That's why I brought this to you guys' attention, because today I didn't feel safe. That firm hold onto my hand and him talking in metaphors about how God put me here to learn a lesson, right? So my parents don't end up where they're at. And that I could be something different. I could work at a federal court, and he's talking about me. Where do I live? And all of that. Mind you, everybody, I didn't sleep. I only got 3 hours of sleep. I went to sleep today at 9 a.m. Woke up at 12. Drank coffee. Got ready. Went to the federal court. And Out of all these months, most likely already a year, I've been filing at this courthouse, I was never talked to in that tone of language. It sounded very alarming to me, to a point I didn't feel comfortable anymore. I'm going live today because I don't feel safe within those lines that the devil will try to stop me. And he talked about me filing, coming in and out of the court. And he told me directly that I'm not crazy. I never talked about myself being crazy. I don't know why he brought that up, saying that I'm crazy. Or bringing up the conclusion that I'm not crazy. Because nobody talked about crazy. So I don't know where this sentence and conversation was going. Was it a warning? Was it a threat? I don't know. That's why I don't feel safe. For somebody to tell me that the devil will stop me from whatever I'm trying to do, which is right, and possibly kill, use the word language kill. What do you need to use that word for? I will talk to my dad's friend about that, Angela. Thank you. Angela also stated, always trust your instinct. Nobody will guide you the way you will guide yourself. Amen. That is correct. So when he stated that, it was just an off present. It totally changed my mood. It changed my vibe. Like, who am I looking at right now? Because I was staring at his eyes. It looked like I was staring at the devil himself, holding his hand, and the devil's talking to me, telling me shit. That's what it felt like. When we're talking about a spiritual sense, when I'm talking about spiritual, I'm talking about the mind, consciousness, the vibe where you could feel energy that is off. That's what I mean by the devil. And mind you, there's this verse within the Bible that talks about the devil, how he is a lion, like a prowling lion, or something that it's like a desperate lion, right? Looking to devour his next victim. That verse stays in my mind forever because it talks about the human mind. Meaning any human being that you see in this world around you, you don't know them. They could whether be good, an angel. This is metaphors. The Bible is filled with metaphors and secret meanings. Angels are supposed good people, right? People that pass along and provide you food. Like, for an example, let's say you're homeless and somebody came along and saw you homeless and they thought to themselves, I should feed this person. It's an act of kindness. It's an act of grace. It's a sense of God, basically. God is consciousness, right? If we're talking about energy, God is consciousness. He is pure. He is light. So a person with light within them, or that is pure and is providing food for that individual, are considered an angel. So what my point is, that we live in a world with angels and demons, angels and devils. Okay? That's my point. And right there, why I say that I was talking to the devil himself, because the whole thing felt wrong. This whole situation, guys, I've been documenting everything, telling you guys bits by bits updates of what's going on right now. I know for a fact when you guys watch this YouTube channel, you see some type of tension rising here. Things are moving a bit crazy, a lot weirder. They're moving a lot faster to prevent something from happening. Okay? They don't want to be covered up. The cover up that they're proceeding to do, they don't want it to be dug up, and they don't want to be seen. They don't want to feel shame, but that is too late. That is really too late now. Mind you, we gave them chances in the beginning to give us a fair procedural, to take us to trial with all our evidence. They never did that. Just shows and tells you this is some type of form of retaliation, intimidation, and psychological torture going on here. And it's bothering me to this day. In a way, it's not bothering me where I need to give a reaction. It's bothering me to the point where I need to speak out about this because I don't feel safe. From that sentence alone, sounds like somebody's gonna try to kill me, probably catch me, or something. Somebody is mad. These people that are behind this act between me and my family, tarnishing our name, slandering, and trying to wrongfully convict us, they are mad right now. They are so mad that this is going on right now. It's very weird. And when I talked to my parents about it today on the phone, my father even stated, it sounds like a setup. What the heck do you mean? Want to go to breakfast with me and give me advice? Isn't that the reason why I gave you my number, so you could give me advice what I should do, what path I should go for school? Should it be continuance, or what should it be? College, straight to college, or continuance? Simple question. I don't need a long paragraph about what you have to say about your opinion about me. I have faith within myself and my family, and I know that I'm on the right path. I'm just asking for your advice. What is the next move that I should take when it comes to school? I didn't ask about the devil stopping me. I didn't bring up about God bringing me here to this place, and I'm learning because of my parents in jail. What type of logic is that? Like, make this make sense. Make this make sense, everybody. I don't feel safe. I'm documenting this for my safety. June 15, 2026. June 15, 2026. I filmed the documentation of the 3 appeal forms to keep record that I filed that day. And I know the clerk's name and who I filed with and what time. I believe it was 3:27 or 3:37 p.m. today. So I have documentation of everything, and I'm persistent and constant with everything. The fact that he told me that he's wants to have breakfast and intimidating, meaning like copying of what I might have, or what I have said. For an example, like an actor intimidates another person, right? Intimidates me, stating what I would say to him if I went to school and got everything settled and I have a perfect job and I have a house, that I would invite him over to my home. Or I would call him and tell him, oh, thank you for where I have been, yada yada, John Doe. Not giving his name because legal purposes only. This is only legal purposes, and I'm basically speaking my mind on how I feel today. That's it. I don't feel safe. Somebody's most likely gonna try to kill me or try to hurt me, or something even worse, make me probably disappear. Mind you, everybody, I'm saying this for the record here because I'm ahead of these people. I would not disappear from this YouTube channel. I would not disappear from documentation. I would not stop documenting because me and my family's lives are in danger. So this is for everybody's public knowledge, to be aware of Ventura County and their connections of crime, organized crime, which is a form of racketeering. So I'm saying this here. Me and my family are not suicidal. We love ourselves. We love our family. We love our pets. We love our life. And there's nothing that could change that fact, okay? I love living. I love breathing fresh air. I love eating. I love sleeping. So I will not disappear from this YouTube channel. And if anything were to happen to me and I do disappear or I end up dying, just know that these people are involved and behind this, because I don't feel safe. The fact that he stated his word for word, mind you, everybody, when you speak your words, you know exactly what comes out of your mouth. Unless you're ignorant and you're not very aware of what you say. For an example, if you're incompetent, you won't know what you're saying, right? But this man seems to be competent for where he's working at, right? He's a clerk. So he should know what comes out of his mouth and what are the right words to say. Why did he have to bring up those metaphors? Why did he have to bring up me going to breakfast with him and saying if it's okay with my mom to have breakfast with him? And then when I say I don't feel comfortable giving that information, he stated, oh, what if you give me a location and I pick you up and we have breakfast? Why would I want to do that? Mind you, this guy does not like my mother. And he said that he could have hated me, that he showed me the face that he would make if he didn't like me. And he really showed it in front of my face, right? He showed me a face that he would make, like something like that. Like that. And when I looked down to laugh because I thought he was joking, he said, "No, seriously, look." And he makes the face, okay? And then he stated that he doesn't hate me because I listen and I pay attention. See, I would not take a word from somebody that has some type of problem with my mother and knows that she will have a problem with him if he keeps entertaining that, you know what I mean? Cutting her off, speaking to her in a rude way as if she's unintelligent, unintellectual, as if she doesn't have a brain. People feel, especially women, they have feelings. They're more tied to their feelings. Some women know how to hold in their feelings, some don't. That's my point. So if he knew where we're coming from, he knows how my mom feels, why entertain it for so long? Where it becomes a personal grudge where you guys don't both like each other. See, I previously stated before, I'm not there to make friends. I'm there to file my paperwork and get out of the federal courthouse. That's that simple. They could speak to me in any rude way because why? I don't give them a reaction. I simply know why I'm there. I simply know what I need to do, and I get out. I go on with my life. And so on, things are moving in the right path. Ninth Circuit, respond to my father with a copy of his information that he needs. He soon needs to send out a disclosure of statements, and that disclosure is where the beauty comes into play, meaning most likely the Ninth Circuit will start investigating, or two, that's when they go ahead and ask for opening brief. And as I previously stated in the live, when the live is finished, you could go and review what, excuse me, a opening brief is, or a brief opening schedule. It's the reason why you're bringing the appeal to the Ninth Circuit. So I do not feel safe, and I'm just keeping documentation just to be safe, so they don't end up performing that act. That's the whole point why I say this here right now, because it's all calculation of what I'm feeling and seeing and what I'm hearing from them and what they're trying to interpret. You could have just stated, you know, you gotta hold on to your faith and keep praying and don't let the devil win. He went into further detail on how the devil would try to stop me and that even possibly kill. That is not the right language you tell to a person that's coming to file stuff into your clerk office. Take it how you want it, people. I take it as a warning. And so far, listening to myself and taking warnings has gotten me this far. So I'm just going to leave it as that. I'm not jumping to a conclusion. I just do not feel safe. This is the whole point on why I'm recording this. And when I was telling my parents earlier today, around 6 p.m., our phone kept either getting cut off, my father's line was getting choppy, where it's all staticky, you could barely even make out what he's trying to say. My reception is fine. His reception is fine. It has something to do with the Wi-Fi within the jail. I don't know what's going on, not jumping to a conclusion there, but our calls had been getting terminated whenever we brought that up. So I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. And I hope something is done about this. As I stated, he said what he said, and a person that says what they say, they know what they said. That's just that, and I'm just gonna leave it as that. The fact that he told me, mind you, been filing within this court for a year straight. We've been asking for help. They see that we've been documenting we're suffering, psychologically suffering, to be heard within their court. And it hasn't even had a hearing within their court, and it's been being terminated based on a fee waiver, knowingly that our complaints, and we're showing proof of that we don't have no income within the fee waiver because everything was stolen on September 18 of 2024, including our cats, dead relatives' ashes, and all legal documentation of these people's misconduct from Ventura County. Something is going on. Something is totally being weird. If you pay attention to this YouTube channel and you start looking, I swear, you start looking through the channel, you notice patterns. The same patterns that I'm seeing right now is not adding up to randomness. This doesn't make sense. This is not something that is random. You know what I mean? The way he was gripping on my hand, kind of firm, hard, and shaking it sometimes when he's talking, and then he's stating about that metaphor about how God placed me there. I'm bringing this back and forth because I need you guys to understand where I'm coming from. All this stuff that's been documented, I need you to understand where I'm coming from, why this sounds sketchy and very uncomfortable to me. I don't feel safe. So I'm putting this on the record for today. Today's January 15 of 2026. And I just pray every night that nothing bad happens, that there's a shield of God and his guardian angels shielding us from all evil and negative energy. So may you guys please share this, because things are getting real. Things are getting weird. Things are getting real and things are getting weird. I need help, everybody. I need help. And these people are trying their best to not be exposed to all this bullshit. They don't want the freaking school lawsuit to go through because it explains everything from the very beginning. That's where everything originated. That is where it becomes a source of it becomes a source. The school lawsuit becomes a source to the recent filings of the federal court lawsuits, to the federal habeas. It all links back to that suit. And the reason why they're trying to kick out that suit and make sure that the statute of limitation goes through is so that the theory about the nucleus of operation, or operation of nucleus, meaning everything starting from the same event, doesn't come out to the light. They want to bury it. They want to destroy our family image. They want to destroy my family entirely. It's all here on the YouTube channel. It speaks for itself. I don't need to convince nobody. You could look at the YouTube and really pay attention to how these people act. And soon I'm gonna try to start submitting documentation under these videos so you could read them yourself. I did that previously on the previous videos. If you look through all the videos description or the comments, you will find a link that I previously sent before of documentation that you could read. You could read all of that. It's there for that reason. So the copies of the notice of appeal that I told you guys about, the brief, the forms, are all submitted to different few people that I know that will keep that safe if anything happens to me next. Mind you, I'm still the last one out here filing paperwork, still fighting for our rights. They want to stop me. They want to possibly hurt me, or they want to possibly kill me. That's all I got from what that man stated, because things in that area, in that clerk room, are not going right as well. Did I mention that for the school lawsuit that I appealed, it was terminated on December 16 based on a fee waiver? Now get this. Which one comes first, November or December, everybody? I'm sure you already know this. Come on, it's common sense. Okay. November 14, I paid the fee waiver because of a family member who was willing to help me pay for it. And the suit is $405. So November 14, I paid the fee with the John Doe on November 14. I have his name, I know his name. He put it onto the record and he properly provided me a receipt. Thank God he properly provided me a receipt. I took in that receipt. Then time went by. I'm checking the record. I'm wondering, why hasn't they put the financial entry in? Where's my receipt on the record that I paid for the fee? Sure enough, December 16, when I go ahead and check the record again, it says that the case was terminated based on the fee waiver. Make this make sense, everybody. I paid the fee waiver. So you know what I did? I filed a motion or a notice clarifying the record that the fee was paid on November 14 of 2025. And that was, no, I submitted, yeah, I submitted that onto the record on December 19 of 2025, how I paid the fee on November 14. Basically 3 days after the termination, I go ahead and put a motion clarifying I already paid it with a copy of my receipt. And you want to know what they put on the record? They put on the record that my fee that I paid for wasn't entered into the docket until December 29th of 2025. What is going on here? You see why I'm saying to understand where I come from? Things are getting weird. Things are getting weird, everybody. Exactly. Angela Turtle. I'm not here to argue with them or go back and forth. And that's something this man, John Doe, today had stated, that talking or going back and forth will not change anything. It won't get me nowhere. I'm aware of that. That's why I've gotten this far. I don't argue, I document. Especially in my filings. I keep it conservative. I keep it proper, neat. I don't accuse. I don't blame. I simply document what's going on, what seems fishy, doesn't seem right. For an example, that fee waiver that I explained to you guys, that's for the Ninth Circuit to decide within the brief that I made already. I explained it proper, that the fee was paid, and it wasn't entered onto the record December 29th. It wasn't entered until then, on December 29th. That's what I talk about there. Drop a little bit of federal law explaining my situation so the court understands what I'm trying to say, because you have to talk in court language so they could actually get to the bottom of what you're complaining about or what you're appealing about, right? So I did that. I don't accuse who did it, who put it onto the record. I simply point that out, that it's an error. They could call it whatever they want. They could call it a clerical error, but I find this very, very weird. Things are getting weird. So now I'm waiting here, guys. I'm waiting till the Ninth Circuit provides me case numbers for those 3 appeal forms so I could send out the brief. Mind you, I'm gonna mention it again. This man tells me if I would want to go to breakfast with him, that he could pick me up and we could go to breakfast and he could get me advice. It sounds like a pattern that I'm explaining to you guys what happened on September 18 of 2024 around the morning or 12 p.m. What happened that day is we were talking with a supposed federal agent, most likely somebody impersonating to be a federal agent, stating that he's Agent Gill, that he's willing to take our police report, attempted murder report, and death threat reports, and stated that if we have all our information on phone or paperwork. Me, my parents, stated both. It's digital and in paper. They stated for us to go across the street from our own apartment home, and I could map it out perfectly to you to the best of my knowledge because I know my geography. Across the street, basically out my balcony onto the right, straight down is a habit, right? It's a little plaza of things. And across the street of that plaza is another plaza, which has a Ralph's. It has a CVS. And within the Ralph's, there's a Starbucks. They wanted us to go to that Starbucks with all our evidence to an unsecure location. Why? They didn't state why. So my father explained himself, if you're truly an FBI agent, why don't you come to my door? I take your picture, take a picture of your badge, then you could take my report. The person chuckled and denied. He refused. Then after that, my father explained, why don't we just schedule it for another time to go to the headquarters and I bring everything there, which is the federal headquarters, which is a federal court. We go there and we meet up with you and schedule everything so you could take that report and all our evidence and you could see it. He said it would be our last warning that he's not going to tell us again. And that after that, my father said, okay, we don't trust nobody at this moment to just go across the street with all our evidence to an unsecure location. That's by far the most dumbest shit you could possibly do. He didn't say that, but he said that part, not the dumbest shit. I'm saying that's the most dumbest shit you could possibly do to go across the street, right? Who does that? To an unsecure location. You don't even know who the heck is on the freaking phone, guys. After that phone call ended, they broke into our home. They shot my father. They beat me up. They beat my mother up. They beat my grandmother up. They snatched the phone from my cousin who was recording everything. The one that you saw go live previously. This is what Ventura County is doing. That video, if you look at it, you hear the testimony of a witness that was present that day that was recording. And they snatched that phone from her. They stolen everything that day, everybody. They stolen everything, thinking everything was just going to be on the phone, not on the cloud, just on the phone in your gallery or paper legal documentation that they could just hide or most likely destroy. No, we have it all in the cloud. And that's what they thought we didn't have. They didn't think that we had that on the cloud. So right now, they just been fucking around with our emotions and psychologically torturing us. Okay, that's what's going on right now as we speak. That's what's clearly going on as you watch this whole YouTube channel. And yes, Angela Turtle, I'm reading a comment right now. She said, y'all need legal counsel. Okay. She also stated above, do you have legal representation so that if anything does happen to you, they'll have everything documented? No, ma'am, I do not, but I soon to be looking for an attorney, most likely gonna contact again the ACLU, but it's hard. Every time I contact somebody, they say that they can't take my matter. They never state why, they just can't. But one person did state why, and I did mention it previously in a live. I believe the law firm was Free Law Firm or something like that. And Freedom Law Firm, okay? Freedom Firm or something like that. I talked with that woman. She said she couldn't represent me because there's a conflict of interest. And I was confused because I only gave her my first name. And I asked, what legal practice do you practice here? She immediately stated, oh, we cannot represent your matter. We represent you prior before. I don't even know this lady. I never spoken with her. So she said, I said, what do you mean? And she said, PDs, CDAs. And I was like, so Ventura County? And she stated, yeah. So there's clearly a conflict of interest. CDA Joel Steinfeld is assigned to my father's case when he shouldn't be if there's a conflict of interest. Therefore, the court must appoint him to a new lawyer that will represent him and defend him jealously. Jealous. Zeaously, meaning with their all they got. Represent them with all they got, talk to them, consult with them, and provide their evidence. The court refuses to do that. Along with the public defender that is assigned to my mother, John Taylor, there's a clear conflict of interest. The woman stated that. So what are they doing in our case if there's a clear conflict of interest and we've been representing for a new counsel and we've been filing margin motions and to disqualify these people off our case, and they refuse to remove themselves? Why? People, I need answers, because I'm literally using logic to calculate what the heck they're doing. It doesn't make sense. Someone said, interviewer Pot Daydon, I'm an animator and comic artist. What is this live about? It is about me facing corruption in Ventura County. Me and my family are having our image slandered because we reported a student who brought a gun to Moore Park High School attempting to kill me and my brother. There's witnesses, documentation, and police reports, if you look within this whole channel, that have been suppressed by these people, these individuals involved, because a student has connection with law enforcement and he proven on the YouTube channel that he could get away with anything that he does. That's what's going on. He got away with criminal threats, which is 422. He got away with conspiracy to commit a crime because he told witnesses what he was attempting to do, which is use his father's gun on me in the school bathrooms. That is 142 A1, I believe. That is conspiracy to commit a crime. And on top of that, attempted murder. And he's getting away scot-free, going to school, while my schooling education was robbed from me. I was expelled from the high school when he should have been expelled. There's witnesses that saw and were told about the gun, and yet he goes away scot-free. Council in Ventura, it's full of conflict of interest. All council in Ventura. No, his name does not start with a T, interviewer said. Yeah, I'm 19. Whoever said that. Someone said, you look older than 18. Yeah, I'm 19. So my point is, this is all going on, and things are getting weird. I don't feel safe. I need help. And the best thing anybody could do is share. If you know lawyers, please share this to them, contact them. We need urgent help. Our rights are being violated and stripped away from us as if we don't exist or don't live anymore, as if we're dead. These attorneys, these counsels that are appointed by the court into our case are hijacking our case as if it's their case, and they get to do whatever they want, working in favor of the DA when that's not how normal procedural is supposed to be. The defendant's supposed to have a counsel to defend them from the best of they can. If you have evidence, great, you present that. That throws everything away. It throws dismissed charges, especially when the DA doesn't have evidence of those charges that they're trying to prove. And on top of that, you don't go to preliminary hearing, you present all your evidence. That's what prevents you from going to trial. Someone said, Angela Turtle stated in the comments, when I was 19, my dad got our house raided. They took him in, but once he bailed out, he went on the run. LOL. Didn't take them long to find him at his new apartment. They literally rented one out. That's the thing. I don't know your situation with your father, but my situation is our family didn't commit a crime. Mind you, a student who brought a gun to our school is being covered up to not be holding any accountability of his actions. And they're doing all of this to me and my family. Angela stated in the comment, just to investigate him, I know how rough it can be, but this is really messed up. I'm not sure how, I'm not following with that little comment because it's only a fragment. I need more context. But anyways, that's the reason why things are happening to me and my family, and I'm here to document and keep fighting. This place happened. Somebody said, did this take place in a red line county? I don't know specifically what red line means, but I believe this happened in Ventura County, in the city of Moore Park. This all happened. And we are being blocked, we are being obstructed to be heard, and they're obstructing justice so that this matter never, ever, ever gets out. They don't want the truth to come out. They don't want the news to be sued. That's why they're doing all their might to prevent all of this from happening. Mind you, the news is involved for tarnishing our name as well. They know that they're going to be sued as well next. Just as individuals I've been talking about and showing you guys in paperwork and documentation, people are being sued. Lots of people are going to continue to be sued. This is not going to stop until they stop. Okay? That's just that. It's not gonna stop until they stop. That's just that. I need help. I don't feel safe. Please, somebody, help us. Somebody said in the comment, redlining is when neighborhoods secretly prevent black people from staying in the neighborhood, whether it be systematically or by force. It has to do with something like that. So it started with the school. Then on November 22nd, I'm going to give you a summary. We were ambushed, me and my mother, my brother, and my cousin, and my little nephew, who was about 8 months old at the time. We were illegally pulled over, and it was proven on March 7th of 2024 that it was unlawful raid. I mean, unlawful stop. So back to November 22nd, it goes up, right? It keeps going up. November 22nd, it was dismissed on March 7th, meaning if that was dismissed and that matter was proven to be unlawful, therefore anybody in that car's charges were supposed to be dropped. They didn't drop that. They didn't drop that on my father. They dropped it on my mother. They're linking my father to be there when he's 3 miles away, at home sick in bed with COVID, linking him into the car. And in one of their reports, they're stating that he was driving the car or he was in the car, which doesn't make any sense. What are they trying to do? It's on the YouTube. You'll see a man with glasses reaching for the camera. And it seems to be a deserted area you would see within the YouTube channel. You could check that video out and see that. I have emails of that case being dismissed on March 7th of 2024. And what they did was they changed the case number from my mom, from my dad's. They changed the case number from my mom, from my dad's. They switched the case numbers to prolong it, to keep it as a leverage for the fraud to continue, to make it seem like we have prior police activity involvement. When in reality, we've been living for a good 22, 23 years. Well, for me, 20-something years, I live good with my family. They never been encountered with police like this, what's going on here. Never had any encounterment, never had prior history of arrests, no prior history of crimes being charged against them. We have no charges, no charge history, basically. And that's what they're trying to create, so they could keep on messing with us. And that's not going to happen. So November 22nd, that happened. My father reported that matter, I believe the next day or that same day, to the FBI. There's multiple 911 calls to the dispatch stating his family has been abducted and kidnapped. They never presented that. Mind you, the case was dismissed March 7th of 2024. That just shows we were actually being kidnapped and abducted and ambushed. 2027, that's the date, November 27th of 2023. My father has an email, it's within the YouTube channel. He emails the FBI agent, Taylor Gregg, and she tells him to make a police report. He stated how he cannot make a police report because they said he cannot make a police report. The only person that can make a police report is the principal. So she said, no, this happened in your city, it happened against you and your family, you have to make that police report. My father said that he can't. So she said, I'm going to call the station right now so you can make that police report. He goes ahead and calls the police. He goes ahead and calls the police call him. He gets a call for him to come to the station, which is the Todd Road Facility Station. Not Todd Road, I'm sorry, guys. The Thousand Oaks Jail Station, to go there because the Oxnard Police Station is closed and they won't be able to take his matter there. Or they won't be able to take his matter in the Moore Park Sheriff's area. So they tell him to go. This man by the name of Crickle, I don't know his position, but he's a sheriff, told my father and mother to go to the station in Thousand Oaks, that his report will be heard and made. So there's pictures and video of that. There's very short footages in the shorts And within the videos, you see my father being arrested and there's cops huddling him. That is November 28th of 2023, where they unlawfully arrested him. And he stated that this is a civil matter. They will all be sued for this. So they put him in jail, raised his bail to 3,700, I believe it was, 3,700. And I think he stood a few days in there, 2 to 3 days in jail. And then as he was in jail on the 28th, they raided our home on November 29th. Mind you guys, November 22nd, right? They're using that as a leverage of jurisdiction. Remember that it was dismissed March 7th. They're using it as a leverage for jurisdiction to make it reasonable or justified to enter our home on November 29th. They entered our home on November 29th with fake warrants, and there was no judge stamp. Mind you, a judge has to stamp the warrant to give it an approval along with the signature. It had none of that. Neither did it have a discovery. They trashed up our home. I have a video when the aftermath, after I got out of juvenile court on the 29th of November. I came home to my home, trashed up, beds flipped, the closet ransacked, things destroyed. Our case of money was opened when it was in the closet. It was open inside the kitchen, wide open, and half of our money was missing. They took in a few, probably hundreds out of that. Mind you, we had over $50,000 of savings. And they stole whatever they could get their freaking dirty hands on. They trashed up my home that day with no lawful justification or jurisdiction, and using the November 22nd as a leverage to justify what they did on November 29th when they illegally entered my home. When my brother was home alone, I believe he was 14 or 13 at the time, they stated if he doesn't open the door that they're going to kick it down. So my brother was intimidated. That was a form of coercion, coercion. It's a way of force, using some type of manipulation, force to get what they wanted. So my brother opened the door because he was scared for his life. He didn't want to deal with that. So he opened the door. They told him to stay outside the house while they entered our home unlawfully, violating the Fourth Amendment, ransacking everything, trashing up our own home. And after that happened, that was reported December 4th, or before December 4th, my father contacted the FBI again, stating what had happened, how they entered our home unlawfully. And that's when he was told to take another report, to make sure that he makes a report. And my father explained how he doesn't want to go to their station because they unlawfully arrested him on November 28th when he was told to go there to make his report. They unlawfully arrested him, preventing him from making that report. So the FBI agent, Taylor Gregg, told him that she's going to call once again so they could take the report and they send the officer, which was Matthew Rodriguez, 4725, right? He came to our home. He got my letter of what I written down, my testimony. I told him I told him specifically verbally what happened that day on November 17th when that kid brought a gun to my school. That's what they're preventing to be heard. They don't want that to be heard. He took my report that day on December 4th. There's a picture on the post. If you look at the post, you see a card, like a calling card with his name on it, or the date of it, 12/04/23 was the day I made that report. And then as you look down at the bottom left of that post, you will see my written testimony, which I still have a copy in the cloud to this day. That is what they're hiding, everybody. They don't want this shit to come out. And that same day on December 4th, the other witnesses had made their reports. One of them, Gio Leone, had made his report with Caitlin Ochipinti who was orchestrated during the ambush. She orchestrated that ambush on November 22nd, and she took his report, the witness report, and suppressed that report. To this day, that report is missing, but there are screenshots of me contacting the witness and him documenting the date that he saw Caitlin Ochipinti and made that police report. There's even a picture that he made. He had taken a picture of going to the front of the Moore Park Sheriff Station around 4 to 5 o'clock p.m. on December 4th of 2023. That's what they're hiding. That's where all my federal matters, from my father to my mother to my federal matter, are all related and tied to this school lawsuit, which talks about everything that I just told you right now. Meaning it all is one event, just scattered everywhere to make it confusing. So this is why I'm going live today, because I do not, I repeat, I do not feel safe what happened today, everybody. The fact that that man, that clerk, the federal court told me, knowing I've been having problems with my filings there, I've been having problems being heard. Me and my family, we've been having problems being heard. And he's been giving us a hard time entertaining, trying to get a reaction from my mother. So when she talks and speaks her mind, he could kind of convert that and use it against her. That, oh, you cannot be doing this or saying this, because you are suppressing our emotion, you're suppressing our lawsuit, and then you're getting mad because we're conducting that of what you're doing. We're observing and watching what's actually going on, and you have the audacity to be mad. We should have that right to be mad of what's going on to us. And then people are just making it seem like it's just a game, when it's not a game, it's not a movie. This is real life. I feel, my parents feel, everyone else feels. This is mentally suffering. Angela, you're right. She said, your top priority is finding an attorney, son. Even if it's a public defender or somebody that will do it for free, have you call the 411 number and ask them if they have legal resources. I will. Thank you. I just want to say this today because I don't know. From all this information I told you, you guys put this 2 and 2 together. With the facts that I have, the legal documentation on this YouTube, I explained enough. The best that I'll start doing from now on is just updating. But this video right here is the core that explains where everything comes from and how it started and why it continues. So after the school problem, they came for our housing, stating that we don't pay our rent, right? We have rent receipts. You guys seen it in my first live when I got out of jail. I went live with all the evidence that I had, including the minute orders, the rent ledger, and rent receipts, and emails from the management of payments that were done. You see, they were stating that we didn't pay rent for these specific months. And when I find the right email, I'll show you a post. I'll post it and explain what you're looking at. So they're stating that we didn't pay months of rent, and they sued my parents. This all happened December 4th. That's when my parents won their judgment. The same day my report was made is the same day my parents won their judgment, around 8:30 a.m. Okay? They won their judgment, and here's why and how they won their judgment. The management sued my parents because they didn't pay this supposed rent. So what my parents did, they properly presented their evidence to their counsel, which was a CRLA, which was a free legal advocate resource center or law firm. They help the poor, supposedly, or people of low income, something like that. And they provided information of what my parents had, which was the rent ledger, rent receipts, emails. That was presented on December 4th of 2023, and the judgment was in favor to my parents. Why? This is where it gets crazy. My parents were the only people that showed up. The plaintiff that sued my parents, who are the defendants within this lawsuit, they never showed up to the court. They never presented any evidence. So the favor was within us, without prejudice. Now get this. Yes, when something's without prejudice, it could be reopened. And then when something's with prejudice, it cannot be reopened. So the fact that it was without prejudice, this is what they did. They waited till the next year, or almost half of next year, which is June 3rd of 2024. June 3rd of 2024, they bring back that same matter that they didn't pay that rent. They bring back that same matter from December 4th, stating for those months, those same months, they brought back that same matter. And this is what they did. They changed the LLC name to make it seem like it's a different company, that they didn't pay rent those months. Do you understand how crazy this shit is? They changed the name of the LLC, brought back the same matter that they lost in December 4th of the same months that they're complaining about that we didn't pay rent. They brought it back on June 3rd of 2024 in a Zoom meeting conference. I believe it's a conference. And after that happened, my parents were muted. Their evidence weren't presented as it was previously presented before. And they were kicked out of the courtroom within the Zoom. And then the favor was within the plaintiff, saying that they didn't pay rent. So my father appealed it around July or around then, right? He appealed it. And after July comes August, guys. August 6th, my father filed the APP 151, which is with the appeal court. It's to stay all sheriff's action until the appeal court decides what is the next matter. They didn't wait for that. They came the next day on August 7th with the fake warrant stating that, oh, we need to get out of our home, trying to force their way into our home. Yet they never showed us this warrant.